Hello everyone, it's me Uncle John. Today I am going to read S3 3147, Journey to the Promised Land, retold by Penny Frank. The Bible tells us how God chose the Israelites to be His special people. He made them a promise that He would always love and care for them, but they must obey Him. This is the story of how God led them to the new land of Canaan. You can find the story in your own Bible in Exodus, Numbers, and Joshua. The Israelites had lived in the land of Egypt for a long time. They had often wanted to live in a land of their own, but they were slaves and the king would not let them go. God gave them a leader called Moses, and he made the king say, "Yes, you can go." So Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt. But the king of Egypt changed his mind. Suddenly the Israelites heard the sound of horses behind them. The Egyptians were chasing after them. They didn't know where to run. There was a wide river in front of them. They looked at Moses in dismay. "Don't be afraid," Moses said. "Watch and see what God will do." Then Moses held his stick out over the water. All night long a strong wind blew. It made a dry pathway through the river. The Israelites hurried across. But when the Egyptians tried to follow, the water came back and they could not cross. The Israelites were safe. They danced and sang for joy. But before long, God's people began to grumble. What was there to eat and drink in the desert? "Trust me," God said, and every morning He sent them special food. It lay on the ground like frost. It tasted like biscuits made with honey. The people called it manna. When they cried out for meat, God sent some birds called quails to eat. When they complained that they were thirsty, God told Moses to strike a big rock with his stick, and water pulled out for them to drink. God took great care of His people in the desert. Then God said to Moses, "I need to talk to you about the way I want my people to live." The people were camped at the foot of Mount Sinai. So Moses went up the mountain to talk to God. God gave Moses the laws He wanted the Israelites to keep. They are called the 10 Commandments. Moses was gone so long that the Israelites grew tired of waiting. "What's the good of a God you can't see?" they said. So they melted down the gold from the jewelry and made it into a model of a calf. "Let's pretend that this is God," they said. They danced around the calf. When Moses came back, he was very angry. He smashed the calf into tiny pieces. The people were very sorry for what they had done. They promised from now on to keep God's laws. God had told Moses to make him a special tent. God's tent would be set up in the middle of the camp for everyone to see. Inside, it was very beautiful. It had a special room where a copy of God's laws was kept. The laws were stored inside a box covered in gold, and creatures made of gold covered the lid with their wings. Everywhere the Israelites went, they would take God's tent and the special box with them to remind them of God. One day, as they journeyed, God said to Moses, "Across the river is Canaan, the land I'm giving to you. Send some men over to look, then they can tell you what it's like." So Moses sent 12 men to look at the land. They brought back bunches of grapes. "It's a good land," they said, "but we can't go in. There are giants to fight." But Joshua and Caleb, two of the men, said, "There's no need to be afraid if God is with us." the Israelites would not listen to Joshua and Caleb. We're not going to fight giants, they said. Let's choose a new leader and go back to Egypt. When will you learn to trust me? God asked them. I have taken care of you all this time. I have kept all my promises. And say you won't trust me? Now you will spend 40 years more in the desert. Nothing would stop the people grumbling. Then one day, there were snakes all around the tent. Many of the people were bitten by the snakes and died. It's because we didn't obey God, the people said, and they begged God to forgive them. God told Moses to put a metal snake onto a tall pole. God says that you must trust him, Moses told them. If you've been bitten, look up at the metal snake and God will heal you. So the people obeyed God and they were healed. The Israelites had not trusted God to take them into the new land. Now Moses was too old to be their leader. God told Moses that Joshua was to be the new leader. So Moses took Joshua out in front of all the Israelites. This is the man God has chosen to take you into your new land, he told them. The people were very sad when Moses died. He had been their leader for a long time. Now that they had learned to trust God, they were ready to follow Joshua into the new land of Canaan, the land promised to them by God. The end.